The United Mercantile Federation are the businessmen, and women, of the Northern Hemisphere, with their league proudly producing the grand majority of goods within the Confederated Northern City-States. But they weren't always the economic and industrial juggernaut they were by the time of the 1900s. Back in TN 1528, they started life as the Lioness League, but after a series of disastrous financial decisions and just plain old corruption and graft, the league collapsed. And from its ashes, the corporations of the Lioness League banded together and forged the United Mercantile Federation. Unfortunately, the economy was still shattered, and if left on its own would eventually cause their newly formed league to self-destruct much like the previous one did. But UMF leadership had a simple solution to this problem: rapid expansion. So between the 16th and 17th centuries, they expanded outward at an impressive rate. While the UMF armies were utilized, yes, what did win many of the city-states over to the Federation was their diplomacy. UMF city-states were allowed to keep their autonomy, and often their social systems would be supported by the Federation itself. In return, a city-state had to devote its industrial capacity to the UMF and buy from its markets. However, that's not to say the UMF army only collected dust, especially when the Mercantile started coming into conflict with their neighbors, the Northern Lights Confederacy and the Western Frontier Protectorate. In fact, the UMF army was such a threat that for the first time in history, the NLC and WFP put aside their differences to form a joint alliance to combat the Mercantiles. But despite this, the UMF still could not be defeated, and their expansionist era only ended when UMF leadership realized that a continuing war would hamper long-term financial growth. As one can tell, profits and finance are the key motivators in the UMF, which is to be expected when mercantile is in their very name. This is also reflected in their electoral system, where UMF citizens and legal organizations can buy electoral vouchers to increase their voting power in elections. The purchasing of electoral vouchers, along with lottery tickets, is important to funding the United Mercantile Federation since tariffs and taxation are unconstitutional. As well, this policy encourages investment in the Federation and is even a source of patriotic pride for the citizens of the UMF as they march towards a profitable future.